All right, so we're at session 6 of Ignite, growing your database. That is one of the major keys to your business. Oh, 4 people in the waiting room. Boy, you guys just keep rolling in. I love it. A good thing I like that admit all button. There we go. So we're going to talk today about your database and how important it is, how to use it, how to grow it, how to water it, and how to make it work for you. Because that's where you're. And if any of you guys have ever followed Brian Buffini at all, if you haven't, Google him, Brian Buffini. One of his sayings is your diamonds are in your database, and he's spot on correct. That's where your diamonds live. That's where your value can come out of. Before we get started, housekeeping, making sure that you must comply with TCPA and any other federal, state, or local laws, including business-to-business calls and texts. Never call or text a number that's not on the do not call list. If I do not use an automated dialer. You can read through this. I will tell you this. If you get somebody that's on the do not call, they may just say, hey, please don't call me back. I'm on the do not call list, and you're lucky. If you get somebody who's said they're on the do not call and they want to pursue things, you can be in big trouble to the tune of thousands of dollars in fines. So be very careful about what you do. If you have questions about the do not call list, please reach out to your market center administrators, your leadership and market center to help you with that. It's something you really have to be careful of, as people are very sensitive about that type of thing. We talk about in here also negotiating commissions. They're not set by law. They're fully negotiable. As you all should be aware of the DOJ settlement that we had a while back. It depends by agent and by market conditions. KWRI does not determine commissions and plays no role in establishing them. That you're a business owner. It's all on you. See a bunch of new people that have come in. If you missed it before, if you can put your cameras on, we'd really appreciate it. That would be fantastic. Fair housing. Just make sure you're aware of the fair housing laws. You don't want to be in violation with that at all. Also, AI becoming a big deal. Now you got to be careful of AI. It should be reviewed for accuracy. Don't take AI verbatim. It can get you into trouble because AI will hallucinate. By the way, they'll tell you stories. All right, just letting up someone more in. There we go. Val, can you see how many we're at for numbers? I think we're pretty good numbers. Look here.
We're at 38.
Awesome.
And I am able to see some of the admits. So
okay, I'm going to let you roll with it then. That's awesome.
Perfect.
Just made my day. So these are all copyrighted items from Keller Williams. This is all stuff I just have to run through and make sure you guys look at it. It's just disclaimers. Materials come from KWRI and Millionaire Real Estate Agent, etc. And the one thing. All right. By the way, how many of you guys have read, and I'd love to see a show of hands, how many of you guys have read the one thing?
Yeah.
How many hands are up? I can't see everybody. Yeah, Val. I'll let you do it.
I'm actually reading it now, Tony.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very powerful. Not about real estate. It's all about productivity. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. I know the first time I read it, I went, I got more than one thing. It doesn't make any sense to me. I put the book aside. Then I said, you know what? This Gary Keller guy's pretty smart. I probably ought to revisit that. And I did. It's become part of what I do every day, part of my business, part of my life. And it's been very, very instrumental. All right. So today we're going to talk about growing your database. You guys are all in command, correct? Yes? Yes. Okay. Command is your database that comes out of your office dues every month. You can go to another database down the road if you want something that you think has got more bells and whistles and fancier. Start with Command. You don't need to spend the money on something else. The best database in the world is the one you're going to use. Period. So we're going to be talking about growing your database today. We're going to talk about your smart database. You're going to talk about how you build it. We're going to talk about how we feed it. talk about communicating with it, how we service it, and then we'll just kind of have some recaps and we'll talk about our daily success system and see how we're doing with that. And I think I did mention earlier, but if you've got a comment, you got a question, you've got something you'd like to share, please just either throw it in the chat for Val, come off mute and ask a question. I want this to be interactive. I don't want to talk at you for 2 hours. It's a lot more fun when I got people to talk with than talk at. Is that fair? Awesome. Okay. Very cool. So Mr. Gary Keller from the MREA, the Red Book, as we affectionately call it, your database is your business. Plain and simple. You build up the number of names in it, and a relationship with each one of those names is really at the core of what building a real estate business is all about. He's 100% correct. Diamonds are in your database. So today, as we mentioned, we're going to start with a smart data bank, building your database, feeding it, communicating, servicing. So what is your database? I'd love to hear from you guys. What is it and who goes in it?
Everyone.
I'd love to hear. What do you think?
Everyone.
What was that?
Everyone that you come in contact with, everyone that is on your phone, every person you meet, everyone that you have a phone number with, or some kind of relationship.
Doesn't that seem like a lot though?
No, it isn't really.
Yeah, absolutely not. That's correct. Because you never know what changes are going on in people's lives and what kind of things might prompt them to be needing your services. Now, a lot of your database won't need your services straight away, which is why you need to build relationships with them, which we're going to talk about a lot today. Build relationships with them, provide value, come from contribution and curiosity. Build those relationships. So when that time comes, they say, man, that Barb Morrison, she's been awesome. She's been communicating with me all the time. I get her newsletter. She sends me stuff about amazing recipes. And by the way, I know she's in real estate. She's not a secret agent. So we got to move. The house is too small. House is too big, whatever the case may be. But if you're not consistent and you're not building those relationships, they may find the first realtor they Google. And you know what? That might be a bad thing for them because that might mean they're getting somebody who's not nearly as good as you. We don't want that to happen. So how about vendors? How about painters, floor people? Would those people go in your database? Tell me why, Ian. I see you nodding your head. I like you're engaged.
I mean, a contact's a contact, right? They might need to buy or sell houses too.
Absolutely. And I think one of the advantages of having really good contractors and go-to people in your database is when people come up to you and say, hey, Ian, you know, I need a painter. I got a guy. Hey, I you know what? One of my kids ruined this. I need a plumber. I got a guy. Now you're providing value. And when you start referring business, working with those guys, yes, sir, fire away.
Wasn't there a law stating that you had to, I mean, it was about selling or buying, I can't remember, but you weren't allowed to refer if there was a specific condition in Massachusetts?
Ooh, that one, as far as I know, in Massachusetts, I do not know that. I'm New Hampshire. That is not the case.
Okay.
That's a great question. Double checking in Mass. Mass is always a little bit different. I don't know why, but yeah, that's double check on that. But as far as I know, you know, referring, and this is not necessarily that you might be like referring during the selling process is what you're maybe referring to. But if you've just got people in your database that you're communicating with, and somebody mentions that they need a painter, they need a floor guy, they need this, there's absolutely zero problem with referring them in that situation. Now, if there's something to do with a purchase or a sale in Mass, double check on that. That I do not know for sure. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
No, great question. Thanks for asking, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
So-
Diana mentioned referrals in the chat. One of the things that we always recommend is give people choices so you can have a referral list and then they
Yeah.
can make the choices.
Absolutely. Hey, I got a couple of painters. Here's their phone numbers. Give them a call. See who sits well with you. Absolutely. And it's just, again, it's coming back to providing value. So when you're looking at your database, this is basically kind of what we would call a funnel. So on the right side, you got your lead capture at the top of your funnel. These are people that come into your world through prospecting, through marketing. It could be an open house. It could be a Facebook ad. Anywhere people come in contact with you, they're coming in at the very top of the funnel. So the goal is to take those people that you've captured their leads, get their information, as much information as you can. It goes into the leads. You form relationships, which moves you over to the contact group. Then from the contact group, when they need you, now they're down in the conversion when, hey, we need to sell, we need to buy. But if that doesn't happen until you capture the leads, get as much contact information as you can, more is better. Develop those relationships by providing value. And then you strengthen those relationships. And then when the time comes, they're saying, hey, Ian, we got to sell. We need your help, bud. And that's what you're looking for. And by the way, that's so much more fun than a cold call. Nothing wrong with cold calls if you like them, but it's so much better when you've got somebody that you know and you've built a relationship with. It makes the whole process just a lot better. Plus, they already know you and trust you. And I think it's Lou Holtz was the one who said it. It's basically three things. Are you good at what you do? Can I trust you? And do you care about me? If the answer is yes to those three, you're golden. Because you've built that level of trust. And that takes time, by the way. So getting them into command. When you look in your command, there's an admit there. I got him, Val. I just nailed him in. Dennis just popped in. And for you guys that are down below, if you can put your cameras on, we would appreciate it. We've got about half of you on camera. I'd love to get more. Getting your leads into command. Have you ever looked in there and seen your database score? Your database health? How many of you guys can say yes, no? Yes, Drew says yes. How's your database score, Drew? Your database health?
I was pleasantly surprised, only because I've just started building it very recently, but it was encouraging to see.
Okay, I love it. So the higher the database health score, that means the more information you've got. The more information you've got, the better you can communicate with your folks. Does it make sense? Especially when it's around birthdays, home anniversaries, wedding anniversaries. I mean, at a minimum, you got to have a name, you got to have an email, and you really need to have a cell phone number, preferably an address as well if possible. But the more information, the higher that database health score goes. And if you can get that puppy up in the 80s and 90s, you're in great shape. And that can ebb and flow as you add people. And if you add 10 people from an open house, it might drop the score a little bit. You just get more information, it brings it back up. Does it make sense? Okay, I love it. So that's where your people are going into there. So you're putting them in there using. How many of you guys have the mobile app on your phone for command? Yes. Okay, I'm looking for numbers here. How many of you use it? Oh, a hand raised. Go ahead. That's a thumbs up from Melinda. Thank you. How many of you guys use the mobile app on a regular basis? Crystal says yes. Okay, great. What's the advantage, Crystal? If you want to come off mute, what's the advantage of using the mobile app?
I like the mobile app because it's right at your fingertips. You can import your contacts. You meet somebody new and it's top fresh mind. You can, put it right in there. And now you're growing your database as you meet with folks, as you learn more with, right? So I have a contact, I'm going out to lunch with her. I learned she actually likes hiking and dogs. So now I'm going to add some tags. So that way, when I talk to her, I can have those conversations that are a little bit more personal. And she thinks that we're really growing that relationship and building that trust.
I love it. I love it. Kristen, you just want to take over the class? You just said that perfectly, by the way. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks.
That was exactly what I was looking for. Good stuff. The mobile app is really easy because it's so nice. Especially if you're using it to make phone calls. As soon as you're done with the call, it pops up a window and asks you to put in the information. And I will tell you from experience that there's nothing worse than forgetting to put information in. So if I called, look through our list here, let's see, I was go through here. Let's say I called Wanda, had a great conversation with her, but didn't put anything in there. And she told me something really important about either her family or dog, whatever. And I didn't put that information. Next time I call her, I'm looking, going, yeah, I talked to her 3 months ago, and I have no idea what the hell we talked about, because you're not going to remember. So getting those notes in there to make sure, because that's such a great follow-up. Let's say it's an example if you got a new puppy. So if I call Wanda up, the first thing I'm going to say, hey, how much has that puppy chewed since you got him? Or how's everything going with the puppy? Ask, you just have fun with it, ask questions. But now she's like, wow, Tony remembered. How nice is that? But you're doing your job by building those relationships. Does that make sense? Okay. I love it. It's super important to take the time to put those notes in there. So every time you reach out to a client, you've got some history, you've got some background, you've added tags, you've got more notes in there. Does that make sense? Awesome. Okay. So we're going to talk about the 4 laws of the database. Number 1, you got to build it. And that's in command. You can upload people from your phone. You're adding people in from open houses. You're adding people in that you meet on a regular basis. You're building that database. It takes time. The number of people in your database it's not like a specific magic number that you got to have. More is better, but the quality of the contacts is what's important. Making sure you've got the emails, you've got the phone numbers, you've got the addresses if you have it. Though the quality of those contacts makes a big, big difference. Secondly, is you got to feed it. And we're going to go into depth on each one of these. By feeding it, that means you're adding people to your database. If you can do it on a daily basis, you meet somebody at an open house, you meet somebody at the store, you run into them at the wherever. You're adding people into your database, whether it be potential clients, whether it be potential allied service partners. When I say allied services, I mean painters, roofers, etc. You're adding those people into your database every day. Okay. And then communicate with it systematically. And I will add a word to that, not only systematically, but consistently. I just got somebody in, Val, I got him in. So consistency is the key. If I reach out to Connor and I don't talk to him again for 9 months, I reach out to him again, probably a little bit long. And by the way, he could have had a life, something happened in his life that changed, and all of a sudden, oh, Tony, hey, great that you called. You got to come over and see our new house we just bought. Oof, that hurts. But it happened. Trust me. So staying in that consistent communication and providing value is huge when you're talking about your database. And then servicing the database. Servicing is making sure that when people need you, you're getting them the opportunities, you're providing the value that you need for buyers or sellers, and you're servicing all those leads. Those are the 4 steps. Any questions on that? Does it make sense? Okay. I'd like some ahas. Just been about 20 minutes in. Give me at least a couple of ahas. And if somebody doesn't say anything, I'm just going to pop in and ask you. All right, Jess Perry, what have you heard so far?
How did I know you were going to choose me?
Of course. I was just
Oh my
scrolling. It
gosh.
was totally random.
I will say, I guess I'll just make a comment on something that you said about just making sure to be putting in the personal information of conversations that you have, because just random, I'll tell you, at the dentist that I go to, they do that there, and it actually, like, it made me feel, when I first switched there, I hadn't gone for 6 months, and my hygienist was like, oh, how's the job, oh, how's it going with, and knew everything, and it made me feel so good. It made me feel like, hey, you're really invested in me, like, you remember me. It just felt very welcoming and comfortable. So I do try to keep that in mind when talking to people, and putting down what we've talked about, little notes about them and things that they've mentioned, and so that they feel that way too the next time we talk.
I love it. I love it. People will forget certain things, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Mhm. Diana said daily input into command.
Got to
Working
get it.
that
Got it.
every day.
Yep, working on it every day. There's that. Yeah, you want to be, and if you stay on top of it, it's just not that hard. It really isn't, and it comes back and pays huge dividends for you. Who else has got an aha? Something they've heard that maybe got reinforced. Something that they hadn't heard before. I like the little chin thing there, Mr. Carey. It looks good.
Bo said, read the one thing.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's a great book. Who else? Let me get me 2 more ahas. I'm gonna go down the road here.
Don't be a secret agent.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
I've had my license for 18 months and I've done one referral, and that's the total of it so far. So,
Okay. So is it because people don't know that you're in the business?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I haven't been, it was maybe 4 weeks ago that I put a social media post out on my own personal page of like, hey, just to let everyone know, I'm happy to announce I'm signed on with Keller Williams, blah blah blah. And it felt silly because I hadn't done it up until that point, and there's various reasons for that, and
Mhm.
but it's good to be. I'm getting a lot of traction with things that are going on here, and I'm seeing it come together. I've got like maybe a 6-7 month timeline where I'd like to be transitioned to this full time. So
Good for you.
I'm gonna feel like I'm on a good on ramp for sure.
Okay. Love that. I love that. And by the way, when you have conversations with people, if you call up somebody or you're talking to someone that that, and there's a million different ways you can do it, but I always like the Ford method: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So, hey, how's the family doing? Connor, what are you guys doing this fall? Are you making any trips? You have to ask those questions. Invariably, you're going to come back and ask you, hey, how's things with you? What's going on? How's the business? You're seeing real estate, right? Or, hey, what are you doing for work these days? Maybe they didn't know. So now you have an opportunity to tell them. Yeah, but actually I'm working for Keller Williams and really enjoying it. The other question is, and I'll challenge all of you on this one. When somebody asks you, and they're invariably they're going to, because people want to know, how's the market? You need to have an answer. And the answer shouldn't be, it's crazy or really busy, because then people think you're too busy. Or yeah, it's kind of nuts right now. That's not what they want to hear. You need to come up with a really good conversation. One little aha that I got quite a few years ago from Tom Ferry, who has a coaching business of his own. He does a great job. Is his response was, so Bruce, if Bruce asked me how the market was, I say, great question, Bruce. Are you interested in selling, buying, investing, or renting? Because all 4 of those are a little bit different. Which one interests you the most? And they'll say like, well, actually, we were thinking about buying an investment property. Ah, fantastic. Tell me more about that. By the way, he who asks the most questions wins. It's not about
What do you mean?
spouting. Go ahead.
What do you mean by that, Tony?
By he who asks the most questions wins, because you want them to be able to be heard and feel heard. And if you're talking to them and all you're doing is telling them how amazing you are and how you can sell any house, and I'm going overboard, obviously, but if you're, and I won't, this is going to sound really bad, if you're vomiting all over them about how amazing you are, they don't want to hear it. They want to be heard. So asking questions is the best way. Curious and being curious. So there's 2 places I always want to come from: is curiosity or contribution. So curious would be just asking more questions. Hey, you're interested in investing? Tell me more about that. Well, we thought about maybe, house hacking or buying a multifamily. Oh, great. What would that do for, what would that look like? Have you ever done that before? And just, you really start to get a conversation going. And when you're done, they're going to go, man, that Ian dude, he's awesome. And you probably only asked, all you did was ask questions. but you learned a ton. Does that make sense?
Crystal clear. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And it really is it's powerful, because I think a lot of people have the idea that sales is all about telling people how amazing you are, what you can do for them. It's really finding out, what do they need from you? What can you do to help them? And asking those questions and really being heard and listening and going 2 or 3 deep on everything that they say. Any other ahas? We want to move on to the next one. I'm all ears, please. This is your time, by the way. So don't feel like, well, I shouldn't ask this, or I don't want to ask that. Please, this is the place where you got to ask those questions.
We had some great comments in the chat. I don't know if you're seeing them all, but the best database is the one that you use.
Yep.
Consistency is key. They loved adding service providers to Command. Use the app. Yeah. And someone
Awesome.
didn't realize there was an app version of Command. So thanks, Tony.
There you go. I'll tell you, and I was a huge proponent of Command when it first came out, and then I kind of went away from it, but that was 5 years ago. It's come so far, and it works. I just, every time I'm using it, it just makes my life a whole lot easier, especially because I can be very easily distracted, squirrel. And so sometimes I'll forget to put notes in, but if I have the Command app that pops up, it's got that window, it's telling me, hey, I got to throw my stuff in there. And you'll be very happy that you did. All right. So we going around and building our database. First law, you got to build it, which means you got to get into Command. You got to make sure you use it. There's a lot of different ways to learn Command. You've got classes in your market center. There's a couple of things on YouTube that I would highly recommend. You've got the Command YouTube channel. Diane's going, yes, Diana's got her thumb up. The Command YouTube channel is really good. Donnie Brockman, a young kid, does a really good job. The other one is, oh my God, his name just went right out of my head. Val, help me here.
Something.
Yeah, he's out of Katy, Texas. And he's a tech trainer for KW. Marty Miller. Whew, man, I met Marty. I know Marty. Marty does a 66-day challenge on Command. So he's got 66 days of video. They're all between 4 to 9 minutes long. So you can pop into Command, get on with Marty, watch the first one, go, yeah, I've already done that. Good. Next one, go. Oh, all right, this is interesting. And he does something in Command. You can stop it, go to Command, look at your Command, because I'm a really hands-on guy. I don't know about you, but I'm real visual learner. Pop into Command, play with it. Now you go. It's a great way to learn. He does a really, really good job. I think that hands-on is a great way to go. But Marty Miller is great. Just Google Marty Miller KW. It'll come up. And you got the Command channel as well. You got some really good, both of those are great things to learn from. Let me go here. Okay. So when you're getting people into your database, number one, you got to have the name, you got to have phone, email, address if possible, and then any notes that you've got with them. How do you know them? Where do you know them from? And then there's the tags. Tags are huge. So let's say I'm doing I want to send out something I found that's really cool for dog owners. I can go in, and if I've got all my people that are dog people tagged, I can send out an email about this really cool, whatever it may be for dog owners, and just, hey, by the way, I just ran across this. You might want to check this out. I found it really helpful for me. Boom. It's a great way to communicate specifically with people that have an interest that you're aware of and maybe is similar to yours. Does that make sense? So having those tags in there is huge. And you can create your own tags. You can do it any way you want. Just be strategic about it, if that makes sense, in terms of the tags that you use. So things that you want to get in there, birthdays. So if you're talking to somebody, and I'm talking to Garrett for my first times, hey, Garrett, we're having a conversation. I met you at an open house. I'm not going to say, hey, Garrett, when's your birthday, dude? I'm not going there. But I can find him on Facebook, and I can probably find his birthday, and I can put it into my database just so I've got it. So as we start to develop that relationship, And by the way, if I had just met Garrett and I hadn't talked to him for 6 months, he never returned any of my calls, I'm not going to send him a birthday card. That would be awkward, would it not, Garrett? Absolutely it would. But as you develop that relationship, oh, go ahead. You came off mute. Fire away, man.
This is it. It'd definitely be awkward. Yeah.
But as you develop that relationship and now you've got that information, now you can leverage it. Does that make sense? So if you get that opportunity, you can go in and you can find that information all over the place. You know, are they renting? Are they buying soon? Did they mention something about it? The Ford questions, which I mentioned earlier, are really great questions to ask people. Anything you can get for information, and when you're talking to people, I think one of the biggest things, and you guys can let me know if this is something that you struggle with, is I don't know what to say when I call somebody. Have you ever had that happen? Yeah, absolutely. Come from curiosity or contribution. Hey, just ran across it. I went to this really amazing Indian restaurant the other night, played foods, and I know based on what we talked about, I happen to know that this person likes Indian food. Let them know. Hey, just ran across this last night. I thought of you. I've run across, the other day, I was in a store. I saw this woman. I went, that's one of, oh no, it's not one of my clients, but man, it's her doppelganger. They're twins. And I reached out and said hi to her and said, hey, out of the blue, I haven't talked to you for a while. I just saw your twin in the grocery store in Meredith, New Hampshire. And we kind of laughed. We talked about them. No kidding. I mean, you guys were identical. How's things? How's the family? And I went into the Ford conversation. And it doesn't have to be long. But you have those conversations, all of a sudden they're saying, hey, you're still in real estate, Tony, right? Yeah, I am. How can I help? Well, we're kind of curious about, and boom, the door's open. But that comes from the conversation. So you're not calling people up asking, hey, Veronica, you want to buy or sell? No, it's not how you do that. You build those relationships, you ask those questions, and that they're going to come back and eventually they're going to ask you almost every time. So anyway, back to building the database. Make sure that you're getting as much information as you can in there. Where did they come up with that name? That's a good one. So again, you got tags in here. Up here, you've got phone number, you got email address. You want to get as much information as you can on each contact record. Makes sense. And one thing I would highly recommend is as you're putting people in, if you have people that are, let's just say I met Gina at an open house. So I really don't know Gina. I just know she came by the open house. I know a little bit about her. I know she kind of is maybe thinking about, look, they're just starting to look. So I'd put her in my database and I'd make sure that I would put her in as a contact, as much information as I've got, but I wouldn't tag her as what I call sphere of influence or SOI, because she's not somebody that, here's how I define SOI, and I'll explain in a minute why it's important. SOI is sphere of influence, which means if I call Connor, he sees my number, he says, hey, dude, how's it going, man? What's up? He answers my call. It's not like, who's Tony? Don't know who this guy is. That means you're not in my sphere. You're not in my inner circle. Does that make sense? Because your sphere of influence are the people that you're going to really want to love on. And we'll talk about it in the next, I think the 10th one in Ignite to talk about more about your SOI and how to leverage the communication with them. But tagging those people as your SOI is really, really important. The other little hack that I like to do too is tag them with letters. A+, meaning they are, man, if you ask them to come over and do anything for you, they're all over it. They would do anything for you. They'd refer you, they would do that's an A+. An A is somebody you're really, really close with. Maybe they haven't referred you business and you're just still working on building that, but they're still somebody that knows you, trusts you, and likes you. That's your inner circle. Then if you imagine like a big circle, so A+ are here, A's are here, B's are here. B's, you want to work into the A's and then eventually A+. Make sense? C's are the people out here that you just met. Like if I just met Barb at an open house, Barb would be a C. Tag her as such. Because you want to treat those people differently than you want to treat your sphere of influence. Does that make sense? but you also want to know who your sphere is so you can have a very consistent targeted campaign to communicate with them. I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there. Does that make sense? You have questions around that?
I got a question, Tony.
Please fire away.
Um, when you're talking sphere of influence, how often or do you even hit family members with your quarterly or monthly newsletters and things like that?
Sure. I would. So there's a 36. KW recommends a 36 touch. They also have a 19 to connect and a 36 touch to convert. So the 19 to connect would be more for your people that haven't necessarily raised their hand and said, hey, I want to buy or sell. The 36 touch would be people that you're really looking to convert and looking to be in touch with on a very consistent basis. 36 touches in a year sounds like a lot. It's not. People don't remember every time you call. They don't remember that the newsletter, they're not keeping track. Oh, that damn Wanda sent me another newsletter. That's number 4 this year. No, they don't do that. I just saw a hand come up. Who's that? Is it Crystal?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Please.
that kind of goes to what we said earlier with the don't be a secret agent. So even though they're your family or your really close friend, don't be a secret agent, right? Get them to know how professional you are so that maybe they'll refer you more.
100%. And people don't know what they don't know. And I'll give you an example that still hurts a little bit. My next door neighbor lived next door to him Ian, I'll get your hand coming right up, buddy. I lived next door to him for 7 years. My wife found out that they were selling. They didn't ask me. They thought I was just doing coaching and I wasn't doing real estate. Because every time I'd see them, they'd say, hey, how's things? Hey, love the coaching thing. It's great. I never mentioned that I was still involved in real estate. Because when they found that out, they were like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. We would have loved to have used you. Oh, we would have much rather worked with you. But I was a secret agent. And I'm their next door neighbor, for Christ's sake. So those are lessons that you learn. Does that make sense? So not a good one. It still kind of hurts, but they're great people. Ian, hand was up. Fire away.
How do you make sure you aren't annoying or too persistent?
You're not. Okay, I'll tell you. I love that question, by the way. I love it. So I've been doing this for 8 years, sold hundreds and hundreds of homes. I've had one person that came back to me and said, you just were like too much. And it had nothing to do with me. They were actually embarrassed because we went to put an offer in on a house and he changed jobs and didn't tell me. And the new job he had was a completely different salary structure and he no longer was approved for the level they wanted to buy at. And he felt really embarrassed and they just kind of went away. And that was the excuse I got. If you're providing value, you're not annoying. If all you send out is there's 14 homes on the market in Manchester, New Hampshire today, and if all you send out are market stats, they're probably going to unsubscribe from you or they're just going to tune you out. But if you're providing value, you're not annoying. Think about it from how you would want to be treated, if that makes sense. And that's how I would build my sphere of influence or my communications. What do I want to get in the email, in the mail, or in the email, or in the mail, or how do I want to be communicated with? And then try to emulate that to your database. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
Yeah, because you have to mix a little bit of real estate in. But like I just have a client that I coach, and she just sent me her newsletter, and I can't wait to try it. She sent me and we were on a call last week. She said, you gotta do this banana bread recipe that's in my, and I said, yeah, I saw that. She's like, it is the best banana bread you've ever had. And so she sends that out to her database. And by the way, she's also got a couple of things about real estate down below, but it's all about value, local happenings, some recipes, those kind of things. And sometimes people are just going to look at it and click and go. But if you're consistent and you're staying top of mind, that's what you want. I would, if you're worried about being annoying, you're telling yourself stories. because you're not going to be annoying. Now, if I'm calling you every 4 days and saying, hey, Connor, you want to buy or sell? Hey, Cheryl, you want to buy or sell? Yeah, you're freaking annoying. And I'd block you too. But that's not what we do. Make sense? Great questions, by the way. And I love the fact that you guys are jumping in and chiming in. Please don't hesitate. Even if your camera's off, your mic's still working. Feel free to jump in, okay? So you're working in your database. Just spending some time to learn how to use command is huge. So it's so important. You should have a dedicated amount of time every day where you're in there, just adding people in there, playing around with things, watching Marty's videos, watching the commands videos, the command YouTube channel. The more you use it, the better you're going to get at it. Does it make sense? Just like anything. So get in there and make sure you've got some time blocked. Back to the one thing, by the way, time block to work on a command to get in there and just become a little bit more proficient every day. You're not going to be proficient in 2 weeks. You're not going to be proficient in 2 months, but you're going to get a little bit better every day. And all of a sudden, one day you're going to go, damn, I got this down. I got this thing working pretty good. There's always stuff to learn, but it's the process that takes time. Does that make sense? Okay. Ahas on building your database. You want to build $1 million database is what you're looking to do, because that's where your business is going to come from. And by the way, it takes time. You might get lucky and get something that hits you out of the blue. But overall, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some nurturing. It's going to take some consistent communication. Love to get a couple ahas, please. Come off mic, fire away. Not all at once. I heard somebody.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah. My aha was just going to people with curiosity, which that's really neat. Last week I went to Bold, and I'm new to this. Just signed on to Keller Williams, and we did have to make some phone calls asking people to give us,
Referrals.
referrals. And I was like, oh my God, I have to do 100 of these. And it felt tough. But now to realize these phone calls can just be touching base and really authentic. How are you doing? Tell me about what's going on. So that actually makes me feel really good to be able to nurture them authentically, I guess.
Absolutely.
And we're not being salesy, I guess.
Correct.
Yes.
I do not want to be that guy.
Right.
That
right.
you that person, that used car salesman.
Right.
That's not and the relationship, the business that lasts are the relationship-based business transactions. If it's strictly a transactional, you're not going to have that happen. I had a situation. I met a woman at a open house, and she was looking for a rental, and she said, "Yeah, I'm selling my house in Goffstown." I said, "Oh, do you have a realtor?" I had to ask the question, right? She says, "Actually, we don't." I said, "Okay, well, I'd love to have a conversation." So I went over and met with her and her husband. They were getting divorced after 26 years. It was a little awkward. He was a little gruff. We got the house sold. Everything went fine. Got them what they were looking for. Never heard from him again. And I kept staying in touch, but unfortunately, in that situation, I was kind of the person that reminded them of the whole thing. So it can be tough, and you can't win them all.
Right.
You can't, but you got to treat them. That became a transaction as opposed to a relationship, because they just weren't. They were tough to get to know. Crystal, hand up, fire away.
So this is going to be interesting, but
Please.
my family was in a similar situation with the divorce, and then they had to sell.
Yep.
And as an adult, I was like a young adult when they were divorced. And as an adult, when I bought my first house, I remembered the agent that they used and what a great agent they were. And I contacted that agent that my parents used to buy my first property. So even if you feel like things are a little wonky, you never know where you're touching someone.
I love that. What a great story. And so that agent did a hell of a job because she made an impression on you. That's pretty impressive.
She did.
And
Yeah.
how long ago, what was the time span in between? I'm just curious.
It was about 15 years in between. And
Holy
honestly,
moly.
I didn't stay in contact with her. I just remembered who she was. And I actually remembered the type of car she drove and how professional she was. Yeah.
There
And
you go.
I contacted her 15 years later.
I love it. So how you carry yourself and how you act matters, because people were, and that's a perfect example. Tell me if I'm right or wrong here. You remembered how she made you and your parents feel.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that. Sandy, fire away.
Okay, so, but not exactly, but, my first agent, I was single at the time and I was selling my house and she was outstanding. She moved away, and I would say it was about 15 years later also, I needed an agent again, and she was in Florida, but I still had her phone number, and she was with Keller Williams, and so I called her, and she connected me with Diane Davidson. So it just did a full circle, and Diane was just marvelous and everything. So I was very pleased, but she just reassured me on the phone that listen, this person is really great, and she couldn't help us, but she still knew people in the Keller Williams office in Bedford. So
I
it was
love it.
really it was awesome. And yeah, we really like her a lot. So yeah.
Again, that comes back to how you carry yourself, how you act, and how people perceive you.
Yeah,
And
and
people
she-
won't perceive you in a good way unless you're coming from contribution or curiosity. If you're coming
Yeah,
from a sales
she-
standpoint, not gonna happen. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry, but she was, now that I think back, I mean, we did have a relationship, because I knew all about her mother and when her mother was sick and things like that. And, she stopped by where I worked to, help me out with things. And so it was really a good connection and we really, really, really liked her. So
Love that.
yeah.
Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate it.
Hey,
All right.
Sandy, we had a
Yes,
question,
please.
about elaborating on the 19 and 36 rule, please.
Okay, that's going to be coming up in week 10. So basically, the 36 touch system is something KW's had for years. James Shaw told me it should be 136. Well, damn, James, that sounds like a lot to me. That's a system that you use that you work with your sphere of influence. And the 36 touch basically is, for an example, you could send out a monthly newsletter, not all about real estate. That's 12 touches. Okay. You could send out maybe a monthly email. There's another 12 touches. Then you got social media posts. Maybe you look at social media and you go in and you post on, you see something, Johnny graduated from high school and you're like, hey man, never thought that was going to happen. Congratulations. So you have a certain number of, let's say you get 2 or 3 social media touches, maybe 1 a quarter. So there's 4. So now you're at 12, 24. Now I'm at 28. Send them a birthday card. 29. Text them on the day of their birthday. There's 30. You can go and again, this comes back to how would you like to be communicated with? But basically you create a system that has up to, up right around that 36 touch number, because they've proven that's a magic number. And you put that in place and then you execute on it consistently. So you can't do a newsletter this month and not do it for 3 months. Can't send out an email that you're going to send out every month and not do it for 2 months. You can't forget the birthday. So you got to execute. That's what the 36 touch is. The 19 touch is more just to stay in touch and top of mind. 36 touch is more for your sphere of influence, but they'll talk about that in week 10, which is coming up probably next Monday. Right? Today's 7, 8. No, this week. I believe it's 10. Did that help? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
awesome. No problem. And by the way, there's so much information that comes through this course. You need to take bits and pieces that you can implement today and make notes on the other stuff, and it'll come into play down the road. You just, it's, if you try to do everything, you're not going to get anything done. You gotta be really specific about the things you're going to implement. And that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to ask you at the end of this class. And I'll ask it now is make sure that when you get done with this class, you do something with it. I don't care if it's just one thing that you change. Maybe you commit to 10 minutes a day to command. Maybe you commit to adding 2 people to your database every day. Maybe whatever it may be, commit to an activity from what you learned today. Because if you don't, education without implementation is purely entertainment. It's a Brian Buffini quote. I'd love to take credit for it, but it's not mine. But think about it. If you spend 2 hours here and do nothing with it, you've just entertained yourself for 2 hours and you've done nothing to help grow your business. Make sense? Okay, cool. All right. Feed your database every day. You can feed it a bunch of different ways. Every time you meet somebody, open houses are a great way to feed your database. Networking events, your local golf league. If you go skiing, maybe you got a ski area that you go to all the time, and you meet a new person on the chairlift, add them to your database. Just keep going. You got to feed it every day. It's got to be a consistent thing. It's got to be on your mind. It's like, I want to grow my database because that's how I'm going to grow my business. And there's nothing wrong with adding somebody to your database. And let's just say, let's say I met James and we were at a golf outing. You play golf, James? No? Okay. Pretend you do. Just for the sake of argument. So there you go. So I met James at a golf outing, and it's like, hey, great conversation, man. I found out that he lives in Auburn and New Hampshire. And I after the golf outing, I wrote him a note, say, hey man, really enjoyed the time on the golf course today. It was awesome to meet you. Boom. Send that off to him. Add him to my database. And now put him on a touch campaign. So he's getting some emails from me. He's getting some communication. That's how you build your database. I see hands up. And Kita, did I say that right? Oh, no, admit. Sorry, she just popped in. I thought it was a hand up. My bad. She's in. My mistake. So you got to feed your database. When you're at an open house, and that's tomorrow night is open houses, but you want to make sure you're registering everybody that comes through. And the question is, are you working with an agent currently? They say, yeah, I'm working with Sandy Froman from KW. Oh, awesome. Sandy's amazing. Very cool. So you write down Lexi's name and you say, Sandy's her agent. And you call Sandy up, say, hey, Sandy, Lexi came by the open house. Just wanted to let you know she was at our open house at 123 Main Street. And Sandy's like, oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Now she's got a reason to reach out to Lexi. Now she loves me because I let her know that her buyer was coming by my open house. Or Sandy says, Lexi, who? Never heard of her. Opportunity. I'm gonna reach back out to Lexi. Geez, I had written down that you were working with Sandy. I must have written it wrong. I just wanted to follow up. Was there anything, questions from the open house I can answer for you? You'll find it because people will tell you certain things to keep you from maybe bugging them, quote unquote. So you have to figure out, are they telling the truth? And if they have an agent, you got to respect that relationship 100%. But you also, when you reach out, I used to really enjoy that. When I heard that buyers were going to open houses and I knew about it, it was a reason for me to reach out and say, hey, what'd you think? So it's a great opportunity. Sorry, I got a little bit of a tangent there. So you want to make sure that you're feeding that database. So open houses, networking events, anywhere you're meeting people, add them to your database. And if you have the ability to send them a note to say, hey, it was awesome to meet you, don't put your card in. Just make sure that your return label says Keller Williams on it. Okay, you don't need to put your card in. But those handwritten notes mean a lot. One of the most powerful things you can do. All right. The value of your sphere, we just talked about that. Sphere of influence. Again, your sphere is, I define your sphere as people that when you call them, they pick up the phone or they call you right back. That's somebody in my sphere, somebody that they're going to pick up the phone because they knew who I am and they want to talk to me. That's what I would just call the sphere. Your sphere is a smaller group. Man, it's a powerful one. Those are the ones that know you, trust you, like you, and really would love to help you succeed. You just have to make sure you're treating them in the right way and asking the right questions, because they can generate new business, repeat business, or referral. And your sphere, I look back, and that's something you should be tracking in your business as you start to grow, and as your business starts to grow. Where did my business come from? Every single sale, you should have it. You should know where that business came from. You should have a way of tracking it. I know that for me, my sphere of influence is probably 70% of my business. One year I had, I think 45% of my business was open houses. One year it was Facebook ads. It varies, but you need to know where your business is coming from. So back to your sphere, you got to make sure that you are leveraging your sphere. That's what they'll talk about in week 10. They'll talk about the 36 touch system. That is where really where the rubber meets the road. And that's where the best opportunity for business right away comes from your sphere. Does that make sense? Oh, and I did not, maybe I wasn't on the right slide. Oh, maybe I was. So that's, again, this is, you're looking at your funnel. So your database, all your lead capture people come in the top. They work their way over to leads, contacts, and then ultimately into conversion. And that conversion, if you're taking great care of them and serving them at a high level, will get you repeat business, will get you referral business. And that's how the business grows. That makes sense. Testimonials and reviews. When you're working with clients, you want to get reviews. You want to get them on Google. Because let me ask you a question. If you guys are going to look for a new restaurant, Crystal, I'm going to pick on you. If you're going to look for a new restaurant, never been there before, what's the first thing you do? I want
Google it.
You got it. It's no different with a realtor. They're looking you up. They want to know. I've got a land listing coming up in Ian, I got you in 2 seconds. I got a land listing coming up in Danbury. Lady in New Jersey bought it 30 years ago with her husband, never developed it, never did anything with it. Did a search, found me, called me. I responded. I'm listing her land. But she found me on Google. Ian, fire away.
Is it immoral to have your friends rate you 5 stars?
No.
Ah,
Just don't do it all. I mean, you know, it should be something legit that you did for them. You know, I think you don't want fake reviews. But if it's something legit that you did, I've got a client that I coach. He's a friend of mine. Great guy, really good friend. He left me a great review. Nothing wrong with that. But make sure it's legit. There's got to be a reason for it. You must have done something for them, something that made them want to. It's not that you slipped them $20.
Google's going to tell you how old a review is. So, I mean, I've looked at reviews before, and they've got 10 in a row that are all the same age that are 5 stars. Like it doesn't seem real. You know, it looks like you're saying, oh, hey, everyone go rate me, and they all rated you all at once or whatever.
Yeah. You know, get them on, you know, on Zillow. All those, you know, I think Google's more important than Zillow, but I think it's better to have it on Zillow maybe and on Google. But it's Google, I think, is the premier one right now is in terms of reviews. One thing, a little bit of a hack, you want to make it as easy as you can for reviews. Maybe go out and look for a domain that you can buy that's cheap, and then you can use that domain to redirect people to your Google business page. I did that with mine. I've got TW, Tony Wallace, review.com. TW review. And it's very simple. It's in a link. I just, hey, just click here, brings them right to the page. Because you want it to make it easy. You don't want them to have to go, hey, find me on Google and write me a review. Then they search and they find Tony Wallace, who happens to be a Welsh author, and this guy here, and then, screw it. I don't have time. So, but the reviews are huge. And by the way that asking for reviews, and this is not part of this, but every time you're working with a client on a buy or sell, when something good happens, let's say you got through inspections and Ian's my client. Say, Ian, hey, we're through inspections, bud. Good to go, man. Everybody's happy. We're on to the next step. You're excited. Hey, by the way, Ian, if you know anybody that might use my services, could you please connect me with them, give me their contact information? I'd love to help them out. Because right then you're feeling good about me. I just got you through inspections and you're loving me. That's the time you want to ask. And you should be asking for potential referrals 3 to 4 times during the course of a transaction. Every time something good happens, not just when you close. Okay. And hit them because if you ask them when they're feeling good about you and you just got them, the appraisal came back good, you got through inspections, you had a hurdle with something and you were able to navigate it and overcome it, you're a hero. Lean into it. Okay. All right. So customer reviews again, you know, it's, if somebody doesn't know what to say, and that can happen, you can, you know, you can direct them to maybe a previous review you've had, or, you know, just make it simple. Hey, just let them know what you experienced. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it simple. But one thing I always tell people is we live in a review society. So as Crystal said, when you're going out looking for restaurants, first thing you do is hit Google. So we live in a review society. So by you helping me by writing a quick review will really help my business, and I would appreciate it greatly. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Most of the times they do. Okay. All right. Ahas on feeding your database.
Could I?
No, absolutely not. Next. No, of course you can. Elizabeth, please fire away.
That website, my son is in computer science. As soon as I hang up and I finish, I'm gonna ask him to help me with that, because I have had that issue that people couldn't write reviews because they couldn't figure it out. So
Yep.
I'm
Awesome.
gonna go into it. Mhm.
Yeah, it's and I got the TW review domain for I think $7.95. I mean, it's not exactly somebody wants. So anyway, it's easy to do, and it's not hard. If your son's in computer science, you lean into them. Connor.
I liked where you said you should pay attention to where your business is coming from.
It's huge, especially, and I'm not saying you buy leads, but let's say you're investing in Zillow, or you're investing in any type of lead source, OpCity, Mojo, whatever, Motomoto, whatever it is, any lead source that you're investing in, you need to know what your return on that investment is.
Mm-hmm.
So if I invest $1,000 a month in Zillow, I better be getting $48,000 a year in gross commission income, or otherwise it's not worth it. That's my standard is 4 times, a 4x return on whatever that investment is. But if you don't know where the business is coming from and you don't know what you're spending, you're not running a business. So you really need to know, and you need to know because you need to track it. I can tell you that I've had many clients that say, well, yeah, all my business is coming from here and here. Okay, well, let's really get down to brass tacks and let's look at it. And the path is in the math and the numbers don't lie. And they come back and go, damn, I didn't realize I get that much from open houses. I had no idea I get that much from my sphere. Because you have this perception of where it's coming from. The reality may be different. Just giving you a heads up on that.
Mm.
Any other ahas?
Don't make
Other than
Tony an entertainer. That's my aha.
there you go. All right. I love it. Other than the fact that James doesn't play golf. Smart man, because it's the most frustrating game in the world. Telling you. All right. So, third law, communication. We've talked about this a bit already. You need to communicate with your database. Now, the key is making sure that you've got them tagged and segmented so that you're communicating with the people in your database at a level that makes sense. So if I've got Bo's in my database, and he said to me, yeah, you know what? My wife and I are thinking about hitting Florida, but I don't retire for another 5 years. And, you know, but that's what kind of where we're heading. I don't want to be sending Bo listings and saying, hey, dude, let's go look at this property tomorrow. Because he's going to be like, you just don't listen, do you? You don't get it. And it's going to turn him right off. Am I right, Bo?
You're right.
100%. So, but if I'm saying, hey, every 6 months or so, I'm just sending them a market update. And by the way, if somebody tells you they're moving in 5 years or 2 years, cut that time in half. Because if you wait till 5 years, gonna be too late. And you're building that relationship the whole time. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, sorry, my phone just buzzed off. So make sure that when you're communicating, you're trying to meet people where they're at, which I think is super, super important. Another little Gary Keller quote. He's all over the place, this guy. Who'd like to read this one? Somebody besides me, my throat needs a break.
I
Jess
got you.
Perry. Oh, who's got me? Somebody said they got me.
To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with your database with the intent of building close relationships.
Bingo. Here's my key takeaway from that statement. I'm not communicating with my database to make a sale. I'm communicating with my database to build close relationships, which will lead to sales. Because if you're all about just communicating, hey, you're going to buy or sell, not going to work. But if you're there to provide value, coming from curiosity, contribution, that's how you build those relationships. Thank you, Val. So when you say communicating systematically, if you've got people that are you've met, just randomly met, you might want to have a conversation. Hey, I send out a monthly newsletter. It's got some really cool tips and recipes and this, that. Would you be okay if I added you, or would you, I'll rephrase that. Would you be open to me adding you to my database or to my email list? Notice the words, would you be open? If you're in a room with 1,000 people and you ask them who's open-minded, 950 are going to say me. Nobody wants to be closed-minded. So would you be open to me adding to your, I'm not going to spam you. I'll just send it out once a month. And by the way, last month, they loved my banana bread recipe. They thought it was amazing. Chances are they're going to say yes. And that's the kind of person who is going to just be someone you communicate with. You touch base with them on a regular basis. Depending on whether they're in your sphere or not. If they're not, you're touching base with them through an email, letter, maybe a communication every couple of months or every 6 months just to touch base. You want to make sure that you're providing value and staying top of mind. But it's a different communication with someone that you're super close to that would be in your SOI as to someone that you're trying to develop a relationship with. Okay. Does that make sense? And that's where the tags come in. The A+, A's, B's, C's. Then there's the D's for delete because they're a pain in the ass. I don't want to work with them. But yeah, when you get to that point in your career, you're in a good place where you can say, yeah, I don't want to work with that person. Hopefully you'll get there sooner rather than later, but that's a very rare thing. Most of the time, people are really good to work with. So having them tagged like that will help you segment the database, and then other tags such as dog owners, etc., help you communicate and provide value based on their likes and what they like. It's a process; it takes time, but that systematic and consistent communication is what's key. Absolutely key. Make sense? Cool. So if you segment your database, we talked about it again. VIP, there's a golf thing again. Maybe there's somebody that was in the military. Maybe they're an investor, a referral, dog lovers, etc. All kinds of different tags that you can use. Maybe you belong to a garden club or a book club. Tag them in the book club. Make sure you want to be able, because you can go in command, you can sort by tags. So hey, bring me up all my dog lovers. Boom. If they're all tagged, they all come up. Hey, have I got anybody in the military? I got Veterans Day coming up. I want to reach out and say a special thank you for your service, because we wouldn't be doing the things we do without you. You're tagged as military, you reach out to them, and maybe you give them a call, maybe you send them a text, something sincere. But you don't know that unless they're all tagged. So that requires making sure that you're really working your database and using the tags and using the system to be able to know who's got what type of likes, what level of communication do you want to communicate with them, because whether they're an A plus or an A, and also past client. I think VIP I would use as an A plus. Maybe there's a client who just refers you business. They haven't bought anything, but man, they've sent you 3 or 4 referrals. Love those guys. And by the way, on the referral side of things, so Raina, if I gave you a referral, how would you reward me? Let's say I referred you over to Bruce.
Gift card.
Gift card. Love it. Doesn't have to be much. Thank you note with a gift card. $5 to Starbucks, but that makes our Dunkin's ask first, please, before you don't send a Dunkin's guy a Starbucks card. It just doesn't work. But does that make sense, Raina?
Yes.
And you want to reward the activity, whether you get business or not, because you want to reward that so that they continue to send you, hey, I got this other guy who's looking to buy or sell. Handwritten note. Hey, thank you so much for thinking of me. I really, really appreciate it. I know you love Starbucks. Here's a little gift card. Hope all is well. Boom. But if you're rewarding that behavior, they're going to continue that behavior. If you don't reward it, and also, by the way, when you get a referral, make sure that you follow up with somebody. So if Melinda gave me a referral and that person never bought anything, I kept working with them and they just weren't ready to go. Hey, Melinda, I'm still working with John and Linda. They're just not quite ready yet. If anything changes, I'll let you know. She's going to appreciate that because she knows I followed up. If she hears nothing from me, why would she refer me anything else? She wouldn't. I wouldn't. And I've had that experience. I've had agents where I referred them business. Never hear a word. Follow up with them. Hey, how's John? I'll call him today. In other words, you didn't do a damn thing. So do I want to refer them more business? No, because they're not going to take care of the people that we're looking for help. Make sense? So reward the behavior. Just a note card. Doesn't even have to be a gift card. Handwritten note is powerful, but reward the behavior. Sorry, I've gone off on a tangent there. That's just a pet peeve of mine. I think it's super important. So as you communicate with your segments, you can, customize a newsletter based on what people do. It depends on how granular you want to get. That can be quite a bit. But if you know that you've got something that's really cool, that let's say that a new golf course opened up and you want to share it with all your golf buddies. Great. Hey, so-and-so just opened up Owl's Nest or whatever it may be. Just want to let you know they got a special going on for memberships next year. I know you love to play. Just thought it might be of interest to you. Great touch and value. Investors, just talking about market stats and reaching out to them and just asking, hey, I know you were looking for some multifamilies. Is that something that's still on the radar for you? Understanding the segments within your database and how to communicate with them and where they're at in the process is key. Makes sense. Okay. Is anybody falling asleep yet? No? Sweet. Glad to hear it. Ian's awake. I like it. Okay.
I will cheer.
No, I don't need that. All right. So here we go. The 19 Connect and 36 Touch. So the 19 Connect, 4 touches a year, and they'll go into more depth. Like I said, I think it's in session 10. Quarterly phone calls. By the way, have any of you guys heard of the DTD2 system? Bruce is nodding. Ian's not sure. Melinda's giving me a blank stare, so I'd say no, which is okay. All right, the guy who's teaching our bold class here in Bedford and Andover, Steve Schluter, I think I butchered his last name. He developed it. Basically, what it is who can tell me how many letters in the alphabet? No, I don't hear anybody. Come on. How much?
6 maybe?
26? 26 letters in the alphabet. If you divide that by 2, how many do you have?
13.
There you go. How many weeks in a quarter of a year? Roughly 13. So 2 letters every week that you either call or text. So 1 week it's A and W. Next week it's B and O. And there's a spreadsheet. If you guys want it, just reach out to me. I'll send it to you. So this week it's D&O, next week it's A&W, then it's B&E, and then there's a couple letters at the end there in the 12th and 13th weeks that are like X and Y. I don't have that many people in my database with X and Y. Some of you might, but those are the people that you would put onto a 36 touch or a 19 connect that you would call 4 times a year or text using that system. And you tag them with the A&W or the B&E or the D&O. And again, I can get you the guys that spreadsheet. It's a great way to systematize touching your database. And the 19 Connect, 12 touches, a monthly email, a newsletter, a video. If you can do video, do video. Super impactful. Because if Ian does a video, I get to know a little bit about Ian just by the way he talks and what he presents. In a newsletter, I don't get to know a lot about Ian. And don't worry about how you look or how you sound. You are what you are. You're just fine. You don't need to be anything different than what you are. Touches, promotional mailers, baseball magnets for the calendars, football magnets, maybe a printed market report. Any one of those are great. If you happen to do an annual event, people do movie screenings. They just do get-togethers. I know one of my clients is doing a get-together at her. She just bought a house, and she's doing inviting all of her past clients over to the house, and they're going to have all kinds of games and this and that. And I'm sponsoring the cupcakes that her mom's going to make. It's going to be pretty cheap for me, so it's going to work out well. But so she's doing an event. She's inviting all her clients to that. So those are the kind of things that you get an opportunity to reach out, provide value, and strengthen the relationship. Relationships are built in layers. Every time you add value, you're building that relationship and you're adding a layer of value. Every time you ask for something, you're taking a layer away. I look at it as a deposit in the trust account. Does that make sense? The more deposits you have in the trust account, the easier it becomes to ask, hey, by the way, do you know anybody that might be interested in buying or selling? And that question is fine, just not all the time. Make sense? High value touch, one to cement. That's just basically, again, comes back to value. You want to make sure that you're providing value. The 36 touch is, again, that's something I would use with my sphere of influence and people that have raised their hand, that have an interest in buying or selling anytime in the future. By the way, and I think we'll get into this. If we don't, I'll make sure I come back to it. But if you've got somebody that's raised their hand, you need to create an opportunity in command with that buyer or that seller and put them in either a cultivate or put them in a phase of where they're at in the process. So cultivate means we're not sure yet. They've just said we're interested. What I recommend is creating within command, and you can ask your market center people to help you with this or somebody, maybe Marty Miller will do it as well, but ask somebody in your market center like Kim in our market center. I'm not sure of the market center you guys are in, and say, hey, how do I create these different stages within command? But I like to do it by quarters. So Q2, so right now we're in Q3 2025. Next will be Q4, then be Q1 2026, Q2 2026. So you've got a 12-month span of when people have said they're interested in transacting, then you know how to treat them. If they're a year out, you're going to treat them very differently than somebody that said, I want to buy. I gotta have the kids in school by September. It's a very different conversation. Is it not? I had my doctor. I walked in my doctor's office, and by the way, wear your name badge. Because I walked in my doctor's office, forgot I had my name badge on. Didn't even think about it. Sat down, getting ready to have a physical. He looks down, he goes, oh, I hadn't seen him for a while. He goes, can you help me get in the house by Thanksgiving? Yes, I can. And yes, we did. And then we ended up selling his. It was a long story, but he was ready to go. He wanted to get in. He wanted to get his kids in by that time. It was really, really important to him. And he saw my name badge, by the way. I've gotten quite a bit of business from people looking at my name badge. Oh, how's the market? Come back to what I said earlier. Have an answer. How's the market? And make sure that you know. And that's why you got to make sure that you're studying it. So your contacts into your smart database, which would be on your phone, your command app, which syncs right up with your database in command. You can enter them through the computer in command. You can enter them through your phone. I don't care. Constantly adding people to your database and making sure that you are then communicating with them based on where they're at. And the way you find out where they're at is by asking a lot of questions, getting an understanding of where they're at. They may not have any interest in buying or selling, but they probably know somebody that's going to in the next year. And we want them to be reaching out to Veronica and saying, hey, Veronica, you've been so good at keeping in touch with us. My friend Jane is looking to sell her house. Where do you live, Veronica, by the way?
For me?
Yeah.
I live in Waltham.
Okay. So you've got somebody, hey, I got a friend of mine that's in Uber. They're looking to sell. Can you help? Absolutely, I can help you. But if you're communicating with them on a consistent basis, even though they're not the ones looking to buy or sell, you're just providing value. That's where the referrals come from. That's where the communication comes from. Does that make sense? Okay. And I do know where Waltham is, by the way, just so you know. All right. Ahas. About communicating with your database. There's a lot to communicating with your database. We just kind of skimmed the surface. What did you hear? I've been talking a lot. I want to know what you heard.
Domain. That was very, that's powerful there. Renting a domain, getting a domain that automatically sends, they transfer your reviews straight to your
Yep, to your Google page.
Yeah, your Google page. That is great. Also, a question we got, I know I'm going off a beat here.
No, you're fine.
Monthly newsletter. Is that something KW supports, has?
You got to create that.
I got to create.
Yeah.
That.
So here's what I would recommend.
Okay.
My best friend, ChatGPT. Use AI and say, hey, I want to create a 2-page newsletter. I want it to have local events in, where do you live?
In Arlington.
Arlington, Mass. Great. I want local events in the greater Arlington area. And I need the best banana bread recipe you've ever seen. Please create that newsletter for me. It'll create it, and then you can take it, edit it. Don't just take the first version. Make it how you want it, but it'll do 70% of the work for you and make your life so much easier.
All right.
And,
AI.
and ChatGPT, you can use it for free. You can pay $20 a month for the professional version. I think it's worth the $20 a month. I use it every single day.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Great question. By the way, there is no question that you said off topic. There is no such thing.
Okay.
Here, any question you guys throw out and ask, please. I'd rather have you ask it than get off the call and go, geez, I wish I would have said something.
Elizabeth has her hand raised now.
Please fire away.
What was the letters DT2?
D is in David. So it's do the D. So it's just the T and then D for database. And it's 2 for 2 letters.
Got it. Thank you. That is my aha.
Yeah, and that's you can Google it. Steve Schluter. Steve's created that whole system. It's magic because it just makes it so easy to communicate with the people that matter the most to you on a consistent
Could you write
basis.
it down, please?
I'm sorry.
Could you write it down, please? The letters.
Yeah, can you put that in the chat?
Yep,
Val?
doing that right now.
Got it.
And then I was gonna add, I also use AI now every day, and you know that KW offers you Gemini for free. You just need to log in through your email to be able to use
Absolutely.
it for free.
Yep, absolutely. I love it. And Gemini is good. ChatGPT is good. There's all kinds of different things out there that you can use. But I will tell you that if you're not embracing AI and figuring out how to make it your thought partner, you're still the thought leader. You always will be. But they're your thought partner. If you're not embracing an AI to do that, you're going to be left behind because everybody else is. And it's amazing the amount of time that it will save you. And again, you have to make sure that you're to vet the information. Don't take it. Oh, that's great. Boom, done. Don't copy and paste. Make sure that you're using the human side of you to make the most out of that, but have it do 80% of the legwork. All right. Anything else? Other ahas before I move on? I love it. You guys have been great.
We had someone say
have a
reward
question.
referrals even if you don't
Oh.
do business with them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on, Val. Somebody just said somebody started to
Oh,
speak. Go
my
ahead.
apologies.
Sorry,
That's
this is
fine.
Crystal. I have a question. I had my
Please.
hand up, but I put it
I
back down.
missed you.
How do
Sorry.
you, so for Google reviews, this is my aha and also my staying curious. Do I need to create my own Google page and then like set up the review section? How do you?
Nope. All you have to do is create a Google business page.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and then, so I would go to, again, that would be an AI thing that would help you. Hey, what are the steps I need to do to create my Google business page? One of the things they're going to end up doing is sending a card to your mailing address at your what market center are you in, Crystal?
I am in Keller Williams, Cape Cod and Colonial Partners out of Centerville.
I love that area. So they're going to probably mail a card to that address to make sure that you're legit, an actual postcard. But you need to go through and get your Google business page set up. And then you want to start posting some videos there. You want to start to get some reviews. And that, but you have to create your own Google business page. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're
That's
very
great.
welcome. No problem. Go ahead, Val.
So implementing one thing was one of the things. And Drew Nichols, thank you for putting up that DT2. You younger people are much better with tech than I am, so you got there quicker.
There you go. I love it. Yeah, and that D2T it's just such a great tool. And again, I have a spreadsheet that I can actually redo so that it'll start like this quarter and go out for 12 months. And you'll know what letters go what weeks. So it works really, really well.
Yeah, Drew actually put one up. So he saved you.
He's the man. Thank you, Drew. I don't care what they say about you, buddy. You're okay.
I'm just copy and pasting what Maggie shared earlier last week.
Oh, she's good, huh?
Definitely.
Yeah, I love her. She's really, really good. So servicing your database. So basically the final law is it's to service all your leads that come your way. And by servicing, what do you think that means? When I say service a lead, tell me what you hear.
Provide the services, like if they a follow-up, if they need something, if they need stay in contact with them, ask them if they need something.
Absolutely. Yep. Come from curiosity, come from contribution. Yes. And do not fall into the habit of if you don't reply, somebody asks you a question about something at, let's say, an open house, and you forget and you don't follow up, they're going to find somebody else that will. So you got to make sure that you're consistent in your follow-up. They're going to get into a lot more details in day 10 of Ignite. Should be getting a lot more details in terms of how you service the leads. But I think one of the most important things that I've learned is making sure you're meeting leads where they're at. Meaning, if somebody's looking to buy tomorrow, you treat them that way. If they're looking to buy 2 years from now, you treat them that way. And one thing I like to do, I got this from David Green, who's owns a mortgage company out on the West Coast. He was on the Bigger Pockets podcast. If you haven't heard of Bigger Pockets, they're a big investment website. And David's great. I like him a lot. He's a KW guy. His conversation with a buyer would be, hey, so Diana, tell me, if the perfect house came on the market tomorrow, on a scale of 1 to 10, how willing would you be to write an offer? And if
10.
Diana says, great, 10. Okay, tell me why it's a 10.
The square footage is exactly what I need.
Okay, so if you find the house with the right square footage, Because so is yours too small right now or too big?
Too small.
Too small. So you need some room. Awesome. So if we found a house with the right square footage in the right location, would that matter as well?
Yes,
Okay. So right. So you'd be ready to write an offer tomorrow.
correct.
Fantastic. And here's the reason I asked that question, Diana, was if you would have said 5 and I treated you like a 10, you'd think I was pushy and shoving stuff down your throat.
Mhm.
Conversely, if you're a 10 and I treat you like a 5, you're going to think I'm slacking and not doing my job. I love that conversation, by the way. It basically tells the client that I'm looking to meet them where they're at and going to treat them appropriately based on what their needs are and what their desires are. Does that make sense? I love that. I think it's a really good way to communicate. And you get some great information out of that. All right. Gary Keller, your job is to build a community in your database and serve that community. One of the great ways to build your database is think about things you like to do when you're not working. I'm a skier. I love to play golf. I leverage those too. Like I have a season pass to a mountain here in New Hampshire. And one of the reasons I go there is a lot of the kids I used to coach when they were 14 or 15 now have kids and they're all skiing there, which means I'm just old, but that's a whole nother story. But I go there because it's a great networking opportunity for me. I love to ski. And every time I go, hey, how's the market? Hey, how's the real estate business? How you doing? I get all those questions. I get a lot of business. I've got a client that I coach who's goes to a gym. She's a jiu-jitsu fighter, kickboxer. Do not piss her off. She's tough. She gets consistent business from that gym and she loves going there. She's there 5 days a week, but she doesn't go for the business. It's a byproduct of doing something she loves. What do you love? What do you like to do? Maybe you're a bird watching person. Maybe you like to hike. You can join a hiking group. Whatever it is you like to do, you can join a group and that will start to develop relationships, add people to your database. And again, you're not going into it with the intent of business. It's a byproduct of doing something you enjoy. Does that make sense? And by the way, it's a hell of a lot more fun than trying to do stuff you don't like. So I think that's what Gary's referring to when he talks about building a community. And you want to build that community. I've gotten a ton of business from I was a soccer coach for 30 years, 12 years in college. And I have had past players, family, friends that I've helped buy and sell because of my relationship with them through the soccer community. The coach head women's coach at UNH, every time he gets a new assistant coach, he calls me up and says, hey, just hired a new assistant. They need a place to live. Can you help them? Yes, I can. But those relationships are things you built over time. And that's a community that I've built over time with my soccer relationships. So does that make sense? Find something you love. Figure out how to lean into it. And then take the time to build it. So we've covered servicing all the leads. And again, day 10, they'll go into more and more details about that. But that's a huge part of building your community. The more you service people, the more the people are going to be talking about you and go, that Gina's amazing. Fartun, God, I love that girl. She's on top of everything. Okay.
Thank you, Tony.
Svetlana, you're welcome, Fartun. Svetlana, she's amazing. She always follows up. She provides such great people talk. They love to share good things. So that's where you want to be in terms of building that community. In command, you've got opportunities with a little handshake there. That's where you want your opportunities to go into. Somebody who you just met on a listing side or a buy side will go in as a cultivate. We know they've raised their hand and said, yeah, we're thinking about it. We just don't know when. That's someone that's in the cultivate phase that you want to make sure that you're staying in touch with. And you're based on what they've told you, you're making sure you're treating them appropriately. Same thing on the buy side. And as you go through, when you hit cultivate, when you click on that button, it will bring up different stages that I talked about earlier that you can put them in and however you want. Some people use hot, warm, cold. I like the quarterly thing because it gives me a really good vision of where they're at. So Q2, Q3 2025, Q4, Q1 2026. So I go 4 quarters out and you slide them into that bot, and then you can look at each one of those opportunities and in the stages, and you'll know, hey, who's looking to buy in Q3 or sell? Who's looking in Q4? And making sure that you have a system in place to communicate with them on a consistent basis based on when they've said that they're looking to buy or sell, and providing value along the way. It's just huge. There's the consumer app, which is the app for KW, and then there's campaigns in here, which you can do email campaigns, a lot of different things that they'll talk about, I think, also in week 10. So how many of you, if you had a show of hands, how many of you would say, I am like 80% proficient with Command or better? Not a lot of hands. Okay. Spend the time to learn your database. You don't need to do it all in a day, but dedicate. Get 1% better every day. It's James Clear. Have you ever read Atomic Habits, by the way? Fortuna, saw your hands up. Fire away.
Hi, Tony. So I think I've navigated most of Command right now. I think one of the things that I'm like struggling with is creating the smart plan. I know it seems so simple, but there's so many steps that I just can't figure out yet. But besides that, I feel like I've gotten most of Command down, and I was just on it today
love it.
following up with clients.
So that's where you reach out to Kim, who's our tech trainer in our office, who is amazing, and say, hey, Kim, just what you just said. I'm really feeling good about Command. Smart plans are kicking my backside. Can you help me?
Okay. Yeah, I took her a class that she taught, I think, a few weeks ago, almost a month ago now. But I was following along, and then I kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna get back to it a little bit later, and then it locked up.
Oh, that's never happened. You're the only person on the planet that's ever happened to, by the way. Nobody's ever had that happen to them. Yeah, so reach out to her. She's fantastic. If you're not local like Bruce, if you're out and Key, she'll set up a one-on-one with you. Kim is worth her weight in gold. That girl's fantastic. And I'm sure you guys in all your market centers, you've got people that you got those tech trainers that are just fantastic and they can help you.
Yeah, and Marty Miller has a training that Drew just dropped in the chat too.
There you go.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and there you go. Marty Miller's a great way to go. And how many of you guys are familiar with the W, 4 C's, 2 T's, the Keller Williams belief system? The last letter S for success. No one succeeds alone. There is no such thing as a self-made person. Everybody gets help. Everybody needs help. Don't be afraid to ask. A lot of us are, I'm crappy at asking for help because I think I can figure it out on my own. I'm wrong. Everybody needs help. One way or the other. So don't be afraid to lean into people around you because their success leaves clues. People have lived before you. Don't try to figure it out on your own. This isn't rocket science. This is not, you don't have to go to medical school for 8 years to be a realtor. You're not doing operations. You're out there helping people buy and sell homes, which is a huge deal. But lean into people for help. All right. Before we move on, we've gone through the 4 stages there. I know you guys have shared some ahas, which I appreciate. Anything else that stood out to you, like, I did not know that, or hey, I'm going to implement that tomorrow. Actually, that would really make my day. To hear about one thing you've said, you know what, I'm doing that tomorrow. And can't remember who did it, but somebody mentioned they're going to get their son to help them with the URL to redirect to the Google business page, which I love. What else?
I'm creating my Google business page tonight. I'm not even going to wait till tomorrow when we hang up.
There you go. Get in there, ChatGPT. What are my steps I need to do? Figure out what it is, and lean into some people for help with it. But yeah, Google's a powerful thing. Who else?
Bo threw a comment in the chat. He's going to work on Command.
There you go.
And get his business page up for Google.
There you go. Again, if you only take one thing from today, don't feel like it's not enough. Feel like, okay, that's the one thing that resonated with me the most, and that's what I'm going to work on. And by the way, there's a book around that. Highly recommend. The one thing. It's powerful. Sold 3 million copies, reprinted in 44 languages. And by the way, if you haven't checked it out, or if you want to get a link, just send Valerie an email, and I'll share a link with you with the interview we had with Jay Papasan in our office on Morning Mindset. Jay talked about his new book, The Rookie Real Estate Agent, which I think is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially for new agents. I think it's going to be just an amazing book. It's coming out in September. If you're at Mega Camp this week, which you're not because you're here, he's got, I think, about 500 copies that he's selling. But we had a great interview with Jay, and I thought it was really insightful. I actually sent it to my brother-in-law, who's been a RE/MAX guy for 40 years in Colorado. And he emailed me back. He says, that was amazing. It was really impactful for him. So if you want a link to that, I'll send it to you. So I've got it posted up on YouTube. All right. We'd love to get better. If you get a chance, scan that. Fill in an event type would be Ignite or virtual. Instructor, it's not in a drop-down box. So Val Garrett, your instructor. No. Tony and Val, however you want to put it. Type my name in there, and then what's the course? Ignite. And it would be this is
Session
number 6. Session 6.
Yep.
We'd love to hear your feedback. We don't get better unless we get feedback. It's kind of like I just asked for a review, kind of, sort of, but it helps us get better. How many of you are familiar with KW Cares? Okay. Here's what I would recommend. You can set it up at command. And again, your market center tech trainer can help you. Marty Miller probably has it. You can Google it. You should have it set up in command so that automatically a certain dollar amount gets contributed to KW Cares on every closing. If you take $10 out of a closing and you got a $10,000 commission check, is that really going to hurt? But yet it could make a massive difference to somebody who needs it. I'll share a quick story about KW Cares. Hurricane Harvey came through Houston. And we're talking, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. Devastating. Flooding was just terrible. It was really, really bad. It came through right before Mega Camp. Gary Keller reached out and said, we're not doing Mega Camp, we're doing Mega Relief. If you have plans to go to Austin for Mega Camp, change your flights, go to Houston. 10,000 plus agents showed up in Houston on their own dime to shovel out basements, to pack trucks, to get water to people, to get supplies. They spent a week helping the people that got devastated by that hurricane. KW Cares was right in the middle of all of that. It's a great charity and something that I donate to on every single closing. The other one that I recommend highly donating to is KW Next Gen. There's a course through KW Next Gen called Quantum Leap. By the way, if you have a young adult, that's 18 to 29, and they're interested, or maybe even if they're not, lie to them. Tell them it's something else. Send them. I have a class on the 20th at the Bedford Market Center. There is no charge for the class. I do not get paid to do the class. I teach it because I think it makes a massive difference in young people's lives. I've had the opportunity to coach, I don't know, 3 or 4, half a dozen maybe, people that went through Quantum Leap. They applied for coaching, and they can get up to $10,000 in scholarship money for their business. So let's say you're a new agent and you're between 18 and 29 and you want to go to Mega Camp. You go through Quantum Leap, create a GPS, which is goals, priorities, and strategies, create a mission statement, submit it, ask for coaching. You'll get to work with a coach like myself for 6 sessions at no charge. Then once that's done, they've got your GPS refined, you got everything set. You submit it, and you apply for scholarships. You can get $5,000 at a time. Every kid I've coached has gotten at least 5,000. Most of them end up getting 5 and 5 for $10,000. Kid I just finished with wants his commercial pilot's license. Kid out of Oklahoma. It's a great next gen. I think it's a fantastic deal, and I'm partial to it because I'm an instructor for KW Next Gen. All right, enough pitching on that, but you can set that up in command to donate to any charity that you want. It's part of our culture, and if you can donate $10, $20, do it. Just do it. I have myself set up. I donate $25 every single month to KW Next Gen, whether I close something or not. I have, because I'm just a donor because I believe in their program so much. And I donate. I also have KW Cares on my closings as well. So we've gone through the 4 laws of the database. Do you feeling a little bit better about your database than when we started this call? I see some nodding heads. I can only see a few of you. A few of you I can't see at all, so I don't know. I'm hoping that it was hopefully has helped you a little bit. So build your database, feed it every day, communicate it with it systematically, and as I said before, add in consistently, and then service all of your leads. Consistency, slow and steady wins the race. That tortoise in the hare, that tortoise had something going. He knows what's happening. It works well for him. Don't quit too soon. This is not an instant gratification. Amazon by 2 p.m. business. Doesn't work that way. It takes time. And one thing I love to talk about and mention, and I think it resonates with people, hopefully it does a little bit, is that sometimes as you're doing the work, and 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 you're not seeing the results, sometimes you're succeeding so slowly you feel like you're failing. I'll say it again. Sometimes you're succeeding so slowly you feel like you're failing. But as long as you're doing the work and you're evaluating what you're doing and you're making sure that you're consistent in your contacts, it's called the hockey stick curve. It kind of goes like this. And then all of a sudden it just starts to go, and you feel like, oh my God, I'm an overnight success. No, you're not. You're successful because you've done the work. Think long term. Always come from care and service. And I also like adding curiosity there. And this is a relationship business. It can be a transactional business, but you will not last and you will not thrive. You will thrive if you build a relationship-based business. Ahas. So we looked at the big picture. We talked about building your database, feeding your database, communicating with it, and servicing it. I'm not going to ask for an aha, but here's what I'd like to know. Or not. Yeah, you don't have to tell me. Each one of you should walk away with at least one thing you're going to do tomorrow. I know some of you already said they're doing it tonight, which is awesome. But you're going to do one thing you're going to do tomorrow. And if you've got a notes and you got about 15, 20 things you want to implement, awesome. Start with one. And there's a little trick I use called a success list. How many of you have ever done to-do lists? Yeah, Alexi's got her hand up. Yeah, we've all done to-do lists, right? Here's the inherent problem with a to-do list. You pick the low-hanging fruit, the stuff that's easy to do. Yeah, I'm doing that one. Hey, I'll do this. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. And then you click off 60, 70% of that to-do list, and all you've done is all the easy stuff, and you didn't do any of the hard stuff because you didn't. So what you do is you take that to-do list, you jot everything down that you've got to do. Just do it for a day. Say, hey, today, what are all the things I've got to do? Do not number it. Just jot them down. Then go back and use what we call the 80-20 rule. You guys familiar with the 80-20 principle? Bruce is nodding his head. If you're not, there's a guy named Vilfredo Pareto who in the 1800s realized that 80% of his pea plants came from 20% of the plants. And he went, that's interesting. And he started looking at the economy and realized that 20% of the people owned 80% of the land. It's not always 80-20, but it is always this. The correct actions will drive a majority of your results. So if you're going through that list, that to-do list, if you got 20 items on there, 20% of that would be 4. So take 4 of them and asterisk them. Okay, those are the 4 that are most important. Then ask yourself this question, go extreme Pareto. If I could only do one, which one would have the biggest impact on my business today? That goes in your calendar and you get it done. Then you come back to your list and you've earned the right to do number 2. Or maybe things have changed and something on your to-do list now is actually, because of what you did before, now becomes number 2. Do that exercise. It's called a success list. Again, I got that from The One Thing. This is not a Tony Wallace thing. This is from The One Thing. I found that to be a powerful tool. So a success list instead of a to-do list. So what's the one thing you're going to take with it? Number 1, I would make sure you're getting your contacts into command. That might be a great one to start. Or maybe you're getting your D2Ds and getting those guys set up in your sphere of influence. Maybe you're watching Marty Miller. I don't care. Take action. How's your thinking changed after this class today? Anything change? You feel like maybe there's things are a little bit more possible? I love it. Was there one thing that was like really meaningful that stood out to you today? Bruce Carey.
I would say be more proactive.
Love that.
Every interaction is an opportunity for cash in hand.
Yeah, and every opportunity is also an opportunity to build a stronger relationship and create more and more business because of those relationships that you built.
And that quote you shared with Gary Keller about the community.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't just pertain to command. It is in each of our areas, each of our territories, our market centers, create the community and serve the community that you want to be part of.
Absolutely. And then add those people to that database. And now you're doing things that you care about, which I think is huge. Because I don't want to go do stuff I don't like. I'm not a bird watcher. I'm not going to go join a bird watching group. All right. It's not me. And it shouldn't be you. Figure out what you like. All right. Your success system. Number of conversations. They're out looking for 10 conversations a day, 10 contacts added, handwritten notes. Do not beat yourself up if you don't do 10 conversations a day. Let's say life came up and you got little ones, you got this, you got that, and you only got 3 today. Great. Tomorrow's another day, you do 10. You got to keep working. Life gets in the way. Life happens. Give yourself some grace. That's not a pass, by the way. That's just saying, hey, sometimes things happen. And we got to figure out how to deal with it. Handwritten notes, massive. They're so important. My first $1 million listing or $1 million buyer came from a handwritten note. They came to visit an open house. I sent them a note and said, thank you so much for coming by. They wouldn't even sign a broker disclosure form. They were like, I don't want it. They were very nervous. Very, very, they just were nervous. I totally got it. That's fine. No problem. Sent them a note. She's a dentist. She sent me back some notes because she's our dentist, could learn a lot from your real estate agents about how to communicate with customers. Because I've never really gotten a handwritten note before like that. They came back to me 4 months later, bought a $1 million house in Bedford, and she's become a raving fan of mine and a good friend. But that was all started because of a handwritten note. Social media engagement. Those are just, again, don't get caught up too much in social. I mean, I think social is great. I've seen some agents, especially younger ones, who if they spent 25% of the time they spend on social media, they'd be command wizards by now or contract wizards by now. So you got to make sure that you're spending your time in the right spots. And that's social media is important. I think it's a very key thing. I'm a big YouTube guy, but making sure that you're doing the things you need to do. One more. So do not call list again. Please be careful. Ask your market center to get, how do you get on the list? What you do, how you can get that list of people. Again, you might call somebody on the DNC and not have a problem. You could call the wrong person and you can be in big trouble. They've seen fines of $5,000 or $10,000. Huge. You got to be careful. Make sure that you are really leaning into that. Subscribe to the registry. If you don't know how to do it, ask your market center leadership. They'll tell you how to do it. They'll help you. Update your list. And if somebody says, please don't call me back, don't call them back. That's okay. It's not a problem. Not everybody's going to want to work with you. Not everybody's ready. That's fine. And I love this quote. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution or curiosity. I added in the or curiosity. So I hope the folks at Regional don't mind that I edited that a little bit. But I think it's super important to come from contribution or curiosity in everything that you do. And the people are happy to be in relationships with me. Don't tell yourself stories about people not wanting to talk to you. Don't tell yourself stories about you're bothering people. Come from your mindset of, I'm here to help people through the largest transaction they may ever make in their entire life. And I'm good at what I do, and I've got a support system around me that's going to help me make sure I get them to where they need to be. And it's a big responsibility. It's also a very heart-warming one when you get a new family and give them their first home. Fartune's explaining that right now. She was her own agent, so she should give herself a great review. But yeah, it's exciting to help somebody through that process. All right, I'm going to just kind of buzz through these real quick. Role play. Make sure that you're spending some time role playing. Get a partner. I first came to KW and I heard role play, script pad. I don't do that. I've been in sales for 25 years. I don't need that stuff. I was wrong. Very wrong. My son is a private banker with JP Morgan. Very successful. Guess what they do every day? Role play. JP Morgan's a pretty big company. Every single day. Make sure that you're doing that. When you go into your lead gen time, make sure you're preparing your conversation list. Your lead gen, if you prep before you go into lead gen, you know who you're going to call, what you're going to talk about. You've done some research in command. It's huge. Take action through the conversations. Make sure that you are having conversations, asking questions, and building relationships. And then making sure you're taking notes and putting them in command. If you can spend 45 minutes doing real play, if you can get somebody with lead generation conversations, this is the time to step on your tongue and fumble your words and say silly things. Is when I'm doing it with Drew, he'll just laugh at me but I'll learn. Right? So Flexi's got a partner. Do the role play. Have those conversations. Be a buyer, be a seller. Go back and forth. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. Nobody learns or grows unless they're uncomfortable. You don't grow in the comfort zone. So get out of the comfort zone, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Update your contacts, making sure you're following up, staying on top of it. Last thing I'm going to add is celebrate the little successes. We tend to, there's a book, by the way, great book called The Gap in the Gain. It's Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Too many people live in the gap between where they are and where they want to be. And it creates anxiety. It makes you feel like I'm not enough. But if you live in the gain of where you were and where you've gotten to, now you're feeling like I've accomplished something. Yeah, I still want to get to my where I want to be, but I'm living in the gain. I'm living in the gap. It's a great book, by the way. And that's the last thing is be learning based. You should be reading all the time. You should be listening. Find 2 or 3 great podcasts that you listen to on a weekly basis. I do the One Thing with Jay Papasan, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Empire Builders podcast, I think is great. Those are the 3 I go to. I have a couple others too that I listen to, but those are my 3 that I go to every single week. Listen to those. Make sure you're reading. Make sure you're doing something to make yourself better. Your business will only grow to the extent that you do. All right, we're over on time. So I'm going to just kind of open it up real quick. If you guys I appreciate your time. Make sure if you get a chance to put some comments in about what you thought about the training. We're always looking to be better. I'd rather have some honest, hard feedback that makes me better. So the next group I do better rather than fluff. Fluff, it doesn't help me. You don't have to call me names, but you know what I mean. So hope you guys got something out of this tonight. It was fun. I appreciate the fact that most of you had your cameras on. I appreciate the fact that a lot of you engaged and had questions and stuck with us for the whole time. So thank you. But
Yeah, and if we can be a resource for any of y'all, just let us know.
yeah, absolutely. No, feel free. Don't just, even if you're not in my market center, if you got a question or if there's something I can help you with, shoot me an email, give me a call. I'll do whatever I can to help you, direct you, do what we can to support you. That's kind of just what we do at KW.
Thank you
All
so
right, tell
much.
my
Okay,
kids to do
guys.
homework.
Yeah, do one thing. Thank you. Have a great night, guys. Take
Peace.
care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.